site, you want to build it, build it. However, focus on the clients that are paying you money. Build your audience and keep them. Focus on client loyalty. Because when they're bringing their traffic, they're more likely, every time they come, they're more likely going to recommend you to other people. So you can focus on getting new traffic. It's great. You need new leads. But, build content. Have a blog on your site so that you're constantly bringing people onto your site. And that, and so that you can start using their data through Google Analytics. You can start using their data and start grafting a solution. So either way, I'm giving a free SEO checkup. If you have a website that you want me to check, I would be happy to check it. Just submit it in the link, or submit a link in the description, or not in the description, in the comment section, and hop on the seat so that we can chat. Hey, Sean.
What's going on, Ryan?
How's it going, my friend?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Happy Tuesday.
We spoke
Pardon?
with Martin Scarelli.
Yeah.
I asked him a question, and he chewed me out.
Yeah.
I see he seems to chew anything. He's just tired of all the questions.
Well, the man's got passion. I wanted to say, man, it's awesome that what you're doing. Definitely something that strikes close to home. I actually am working on a startup project where I am actually the chief technology officer on it. And but the thing is that I have a business background, so I actually work directly with not just developers but the content strategists and with the end clients, which is typically a chasm that's not crossed, but that's sort of I use that to exploit that niche because there's a lot of help that needs to be there. Oftentimes it seems like SEO is an afterthought, and the way that we've been developing our app primarily, our copy and content side of things. Well, which all of it's copy and content, but then we have a marketing specific site that is the root of the application. So now the thing that I started noticing is that when SEO is something that you should so from a developer perspective, like if we're talking HTML and just semantic markup, SEO is something that oftentimes people say, well, I'll first put it out here with like this. The phone call that you get on the line where it's like, this is your Google page rank operator or something. Those phone calls, right? So those, I'm sure people fall for those. That's probably, I'd say that I don't even ever answer those ever. But then if you bring it down to, say, another offering, people who have a site already but are concerned about SEO afterwards. So then they typically get some package and attempt to retrofit SEO into their application. There are things that possibly can work, like throwing in the canonical URL and such, just to grab some low-hanging fruit. But to me, it's like it's something that should be thought of immediately, like from day one. So with the content strategist, we spent hours just sitting there, just like, what is that thing, a header? Or is it a paragraph? Maybe it's an EM. Oh, right, it's a block quote. Because I just have this feeling that, what I love about what's happening now is that content and also the semantic markup around said content is starting to represent our pages in a more discoverable manner. What are your thoughts on, the specific question is, what are your thoughts on, from the markup perspective, starting off early and calling a thing, using semantic markup and such? How does that affect one's content rankings? Because I don't like to call them page rankings.
Yeah, I like the way that I look at it is that, like when HTML5 syntax came out, I thought it was awesome because we're looking at, like, we're thinking about bots. And bots are just what they are, bots. They're computers reading our site. Okay? So, and they're not humans. Humans, we are able to, like, we have social cues. We have different things that when we're looking at a site, we can just instinctively know because of our experiences. but computers don't have that intelligence yet. And when you're marking up your site, you want to make your site readable so that, like in terms of the syntax, so that the computers understand what you're doing. You know what I mean? It should be like, and it's just like when you're delivering a sales pitch or you're talking to your clients. I'm using everyday examples here. It's like when you're talking to your child, you're going to break it down so simple that they can understand it. But if they can understand it, then you can explain the same thing that you explain to your child to an adult. And I think that when you're marking up your site, like putting an address tag, instead of just being a div tag, I mean, you can put your IDs and your classes, but if you put an address tag, that's better, right? If you're looking, like, how is Google supposed to know that you have an article on your page? Right? How are they supposed to know that it's an article? Well, mark it up. Say it's.
Use the article tag with the header.
Well, for sure. Like if this is the main content, then, and if that's what you want people to see, then put main, right? If this is a person, put person and put your structural data on, in there so that people understand what they're looking at, because computers are stupid. So we're trying to mark it up so that they understand, so that they can help promote us. It's not that Google is it's not like Google has a plan. Oh my God, like I'm going to fuck with this guy's website, excuse my language, but I'm going to fuck with this guy's website, I'm going to fuck with his ranking. No, if I don't understand it, they just move on to the next site. It's nothing to them, right? But they do go after people that try to manipulate the sites. They try to manipulate the code to get more rankings. They go after those people. But if you're, I honestly, I don't know if I answered your question, but I just think that you should describe what things are. Like, take your time. Take your time when you're building your sites. Don't get in a rush.
I like
it. Are you there?
I like it. I was just absorbing everything that you were stating.
Yeah.
I like that strategy a lot, because I always have this notion of call a thing a thing. It'll just reduce a bunch of the mind mapping that occurs in a person's brain. As far as in computer science, they say there's the three most difficult things in computer science is off by one errors, cache invalidation, and naming things. Humans have this longing to categorize and label things. That's just a human trait. But they're not good at naming things, which is the irony.
Yeah, for sure. And writing code is like, it's daunting too at the same time, right? Like you start writing and then you're realizing how much you have to write. And so I but I created a code for myself that I just type in the class name and then it creates the rest of the tag, all the redundant shit that you get used to when you're writing up the code.
Hey, Ryan, your audio's breaking up, bud.
Can you hear me now?
It's crackly.
Can you hear me now?
It's crackly.
Okay.
Ooh, I've been here all by myself.
Yeah, so I mean, like, what I was saying is that, I forget what I was saying.
Well, you were clearly it's about naming things and using the appropriate elements.
Yeah, it's like if we can find tools that can help us write the syntax better, and I utilize Zen code that Google developed a long time ago, and I use that. I put the class name or the ID tag, and then it creates the rest of the syntax for me, right? Because I find that I feel that people don't like to deal with redundancy, and with HTML especially, there's a lot of redundant language, and that tires the brain. That's why we don't want to name things, because we're just too busy trying to, I think it just puts stress on the mind. But if we can get rid of that and just focus on just naming things first, like I create the classes, the IDs first before I start anything.
Nice.
I plan it out.
Nice.
And then I insert. Okay.
Can you hear me?
What's up?
Yo, I got a site. Yo, I want to know if y'all could check it out. I made it myself. Everything like independent shit.
Yeah, I can check it out. Just give me a few seconds. I'm going to take you off the call. I'm going to finish up with Rashawn, and then I'll bring you back in. Is that okay?
All right. Yeah. I'll hang up.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
So what were you saying?
So basically, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
What I was saying was, what I love that you said is instead of having a div with an ID of main, just have main. One of the things that I evangelize all the time is be careful of, be wary of divitis. And some people might say, what is divitis? And I'll say just, well, look at Facebook source code or Twitter source code or anything that uses Bootstrap or something of that nature, where you have a proliferation of divs all over the place with IDs and classes and such. And there are so many semantic elements in HTML5 that I'd be willing to bet the farm that 99% of things that you'd want to name as far as what it is semantically, so whether it's a paragraph, block quote, address, I don't know, an anchor link with a relation TEL as a telephone number, there is already an element for that. Now, if it has to be specified, then you classify it, right? But that's I typically reserve classes only for CSS. And then IDs, the ability to style them is a side effect, or select them, not style them. The ability to select them is a side effect of CSS. More so if I look at something and it is a little bit different than the things that it's around, then I might identify it. So say if it has a particular background image or icon within it or something, then you can identify it and do it that way. That I've gotten to the point in my markup where I don't think I ever have. I probably made 2 divs in the past 2 years of my life, because once I shed the whole divitis thing, I started noticing that not only was my content starting to become leaner and stripping away the markup from the content, because the markup is just really just a ceremony, right? It's just it's an imperative, or it's a declarative, because HTML is a declarative language. It's a declarative way to represent something. But if you could sort of weed out unnecessary markup, so oftentimes people put in divs because they want to make a box so they can style something. Well, typically that's just a telltale sign that they don't understand CSS correctly and like the box model with it. But I'm loving stripping out, like getting down to as close to the content as possible with the minimum amount of markup for it as possible. I figured out a way to at least reduce that tediousness by 50%.
Say that one more time.
I figured out a way to reduce that tediousness by 50%. Or I haven't figured out a way. I just discovered.
So how do you do that?
Here you go. Wait a minute. I'm putting it in the room.
You know, someone just mentioned this, I think, in another blab.
Just mentioned what?
Hold on 1 second here. I just got to... So Jade Lang?
Yes, sir.
Word.
Oh, no. Whoa. Don't do that. What's going on here?
Important
Hold on.
security message.
Don't
Please
click that link. My bad.
As soon as possible.
Jeez.
You will be guided for the removal.
Okay, it's jadelang.com. Good God, I apologize.
Okay.
I apologize about that.
Yeah, you know, I saw this actually. And this is actually better than what I was using, like Zencode. Yeah, this is way better. Whoa. Thanks for reminding me, because, yeah.
So basically, it's so, what I love about it is the content strategist that we have on our team who actually knows HTML. We were pairing one day, and she realized that, at first we started off thinking that we needed a WordPress site. But then we realized that, well, we have a content strategist who's pretty badass and knows HTML enough to get herself out of trouble. And we started introducing Jade. And what wound up happening, I just use Jade because it just makes me write half of the HTML markup, right? Like, and removal of like those things. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah, for sure.
That's awesome right there in and of itself. And then when I noticed that a really great nicety that's a beautiful side effect is our content strategist was able to go on GitHub and look at all of our content pages and make changes right there on GitHub of copy. And she picked up Jade in like 5 minutes.
Wow.
So she's able to go in, and what's awesome, like, so Jade has to go through a preprocessor to convert over to HTML. But what's fantastic is when you're actually editing the content, you actually can remove like just ginormous frameworks from WordPress just by going and looking at the Jade Lang tutorial for 5 minutes and then just writing your own markup.
Damn. Well, thanks for the nugget. Yeah, man. I'm gonna follow. Oh, well, I think I already followed you a long time ago. But yeah, man. Like, how can we should talk offline for sure.
Absolutely. So you follow me on Twitter, ping me, or whatever have you, because I'd like for you to take a look at do an SEO checkup of our site. However, the only situation that we're in right now is that we're still under review from compliance, which because it's an app in the fintech space, so there's a lot of pomp and circumstance and red tape that you have to cut through in order to be able to do things with people's money, right? You can just imagine that. So right now we're under compliance review, but I'd say we're here within the next week or so. I'd like to sit down with you for a handful of minutes if you don't mind, and maybe we have a little powwow, because then I'll have something to show you. Because we have something to show you right now, but I just can't show you it.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Absolutely.
Well, my brother Rayshawn, it was a pleasure talking with you. I'm gonna let some other people in. Okay, peace out.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so someone's calling in.